I'm Spider-Man, and in my world, more than one wears the mask.
Suit up.
And it's a no on the cape.
I think it's cool.
Spider-Man doesn't wear a cape.
Hey guys,
Who are you?
I'm Gwen Stacy.
How many more Spider people are there?
And team up.
Hey, fellas.
Hello.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
In your universe, there's only one Spider-Man. But there is another universe. My name's Miles Morales.
Hey, kid. You're like me.
How?
I know it's complicated. You want to know what happened to you? I can teach you to be Spider-Man.
How am I supposed to save the world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person. What makes you different? That's what makes you Spider-Man.
I see this spark in you. It's amazing. Whatever you choose to do with it, you'll be great. I love you, Miles.
Yeah, I know, Dad.
You gotta say I love you back.
Dad, are you serious?
I want to hear it.
Dad, I love you.
That's a copy.
Thing is, I'm a gentleman. You'd have knocked. You could have come right in. But you had to go and sneak around. Time to bring the fear back. Good evening, New York. Welcome to tonight's entertainment. The changing of the guard. Tonight, the good old days are coming back.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got a whole bunch of new Spider-Man footage to break down. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse trailer, new Spider-Man PS4 footage for the upcoming DLC in the new story arc, and Spider-Man Far From Home. So there is a new round of that Spider-Man game giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Spider-Man related comment on the video. We're entering Prime Spider-Man season. Like in the next couple of weeks, obviously there's a bunch of other Marvel stuff happening, the Avengers 4 trailer, all the Captain Marvel stuff, but a whole bunch of Spider-Man. So just starting with the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse footage. We get a little more Wilson Fisk, more Ultimate Goblin, and more of the Prowler. They seem like they're going to be the only real main villains during this first film. Like they're introducing the concept of the multiverse with a couple other versions of Spider-Man like Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Noir, Peter Porker, the 40-something midlife crisis version of Spider-Man played by Jake Johnson. But what I'm hoping is because we have all that Spider-Geddon stuff happening in the comics right now, that they'll find a way to get up to really crazy multiverse stories, more Lun, and more true comic book Spider-Verse storyline. Like, we have this first film, you introduce the concept of the multiverse, other Spider-Men come to help Miles on his Earth. The sequel should be Miles traveling the multiverse with them in a story with even bigger scope. If the animated movies go as well as people think that they're going to go, it seems like the beginning of a new animated franchise. And because it's animation, you can do anything you want. There are no limitations. And the audience typically expects it to be a little bit crazier. So it doesn't have to be quite as broad as, say, the live-action movies have to be. If you're not a big comic book reader, Spider-Geddon is sort of like the big sequel storyline to the Spider-Verse comic book storyline, where Spider-Man and his counterparts from all the alternate universes imprison Morlun, who's like the big overarching multiverse villain that's trying to kill them all. Spider-Geddon is the story of how they escape and how things get even worse in the multiverse and everything starts to crumble around them. So it's sort of this giant battle royale across all of time and space in the multiverse with Spider-Man's specific characters. You get into the idea of the web of life and destiny, which is sort of this overarching concept that sits on top of the multiverse. It's like this web that literally connects all the alternate universes. So I think this animated universe is the perfect place to deal with stuff like that. You get a little teaser for that when you see Spider-Gwen falling between universes. There's this cosmic web in the background. Those strands literally connect different universes in the multiverse. So early prediction, they have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is this first film. Relatively simple concept. They could do Shattered Dimensions for the sequel, and then that third film could be called Spider-Geddon, or at least based on the concept of Spider-Geddon and called something else if they want to change the title. The new Spider-Man PS4 footage is just him versus Hammerhead. It's called Turf Wars, aka The City That Never Sleeps. There are 3 new Spider-Man suits. We have the Spider Armor Mark I, the classic version, the Spider Clan suit from the Mangaverse, and then the comic book Iron Spider suit with the classic red-gold coloring. I know everybody wants to see that black costume, the symbiote. We had that Venom post-credit scene with Harry Osborn. It seems like they're definitely saving that for the sequel now. There is one more DLC pack, and they sort of tell you what it is through a couple Easter eggs in this trailer. So obviously Hammerhead is the next big villain that he goes after. Yuri comes back and becomes a much bigger character, but you see him in this big fight with Hammerhead wearing a jetpack, and notice that they slow it down quite a bit when he flies past the frame. You see a giant S on the back, and you wonder what that is. It stands for Silvermane, so it seems like they're trying to imply that Silvermane is the next big villain that he faces. I'll explain his comic book storyline in a second, because it does foreshadow what they've been doing with the Kingpin going down and everybody fighting over turf in the city. The release date for the Hammerhead DLC in all these new suits is November 20th next week as of me posting this video. The next DLC pack after that is called Silver Linings, just confirming that Silvermane is the next big villain. They only say that it's coming out sometime in December, but I'm just guessing that it's going to be released sometime around when Into the Spider-Verse hits theaters. But Silvermane in the comics debuted in the 60s as sort of a follow-up mob boss villain to the Kingpin, because the Kingpin was a really early Spider-Man villain. But he got into this really crazy mystical storyline where he tried to de-age himself using a special serum and a mystical tablet, forcing Curt Connors, the Lizard, to help him. Eventually, it was successful. He re-emerged in his late 30s. His next big storyline was going full Kingpin, trying to consolidate all of New York's crime families before seemingly dying in a big battle with Spider-Man on a rooftop. Then, way later during the 80s, he re-emerged and they did that cybernetic body storyline. If you remember that from the animated series, that happened during the 80s when things got really, really crazy with his character. But that 90s animated series did do a version of all of his greatest hits, where he tried to de-age himself using the tablet. He had a daughter that worked with Curt Connors that then took over his crime family after the tablet went all wonky and de-aged him into a baby. I'm trying to keep my expectations low for the Silvermane DLC. I don't know how big it's going to be, so just don't expect them to do every single thing from his comic book storylines. But I know you're all wondering when we're getting footage for Spider-Man Far From Home. So I talked about them dropping this Silvermane DLC around the time Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is hitting theaters. Most recent news about Spider-Man Far From Home is that they will drop the teaser trailer with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That hits theaters December 14th, so maybe we see that teaser trailer Tuesday, December 11th, a little bit earlier that week. Movie studios love that Tuesday before big movies come out, so that's just what I'm penciling in on my calendar right now. But if I get any more news about that, I'll post it in the comments. That's also going to be the same week that we get the big Flash, Arrow, Elseworlds crossover with the Black Suit Superman and everybody switching sides, Freaky Friday style. So there's going to be a whole bunch of comic book stuff happening that week. But also, don't forget, Aquaman is hitting theaters the week after that too, but I'll talk about Aquaman stuff in all my DC videos. So December will be a really big comic book month, and we'll spend the holidays talking about the future of Spider-Man and the Marvel Universe in Phase 4. What'll happen is there's a couple other Marvel videos that I'm working on. I'll try to post those as soon as possible. Click here for my Stan Lee tribute, and click here for the new Avengers 4 Captain Marvel prequel story. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.